Week number 3, Jets, Patriots this Sunday at 1 o'clock. We're going to get to that in just a couple of minutes. But first, some tidbits. Will Grier signs with the Patriots. He's now an active member of the 53-man roster. He is going to be the emergency quarterback this weekend, according to Bill Belichick. So Will Grier has been added to this team. Makes sense. You only had 2 quarterbacks, obviously, with Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. You needed somebody else. The Matt Corral situation played out. He left. That's not going to be able to work for you. So you need to add a quarterback. Grier is that guy. He played for Dallas for a few years, played in Carolina as well. And, of course, you're playing Dallas next week. So there's a tie-in. Grier has some experience with that program in Dallas. So maybe he helps you out in the preparation stage of the game next week. But Will Grier is your new quarterback. Emergency quarterback on this roster, accurate pocket kind of guy. So he fits the scheme. He fits what they want to do offensively. Moving on, Marcus Jones, torn labrum. He's going to be out for a while. Belichick did not tell us whether or not he's going to be out for the rest of the season today, but torn labrum, serious injury. Jones is out. So now Jack Jones, Marcus Jones, both out. Jack Jones can come back week 5, but you're dealing with a thin cornerback room. And I do wonder if Jalen Mills will slide back to cornerback now. He has not played a ton of snaps at safety. It makes some sense to move him back to the position he's played for the last couple of years on this team. He obviously knows what they're trying to do defensively. And so adding him to that cornerback spot makes a lot of sense. I'm not the biggest fan of Mills at cornerback, but you've got to do what you've got to do. So I would anticipate Mills getting some reps at corner over the next few weeks until Jack Jones comes back. And who knows, maybe Jalen Mills stays at cornerback because, again, he wasn't playing a ton of safety. And then if you lose a safety down the road, maybe you can move Mills back to that spot. So it'll be interesting to see how the musical chairs play out at cornerback for the Patriots over the next few weeks, with Marcus Jones being out and Jack Jones out until week 5. And, look, the return game as well as part of this. Of course, Marcus, Pro Bowl kind of guy, as a punt returner. Who's going to return punts? I would think it's going to be Pop Douglas. So you have Pop Douglas out there returning punts, I'd imagine. So Marcus Jones not able to help you in special teams, which also hurts a little bit. So Marcus Jones going to be out for a while. I'd be surprised if he comes back this year. Fingers crossed. Last note, Trent Brown, we got some details on his incentive package that he received this week. Of course, the Patriots added a couple of $1 million to the deal to make it about $13 million in total. And as we had suspected and talked about earlier this week in the podcast, the incentives are tied to playing time. So it's 7 tiers of playing time incentives. He's got per game bonuses. It's perfect. It makes sense. You want Trent Brown invested. You want him motivated. You want him playing on Sunday. So how do you make sure you motivate him to do that? You give him a little extra scuttle to get out there and play. So that's what the Patriots did. I like it. It's a good move. And now hopefully Trent can stay healthy. Like, rate, review, and subscribe here to the Nick Cattle Show on this Friday, getting you ready for week 3. We're going to dive into Jets, Patriots now. Don't forget to give us that thumbs up in YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Every little bit helps us an awful lot here at the Nick Cattle Show. I am going to warn you about this game. Here's the warning. First and foremost, got to get this across to you. Don't anticipate a high-octane, super aesthetically pleasing type game on Sunday. And I know many of you are not anticipating that. Good. Don't expect it. Those would be unreasonable expectations. Not even counting for this cyclone bomb or whatever the hell they're calling it. The weather might be awful as well. But even if it was a sunny day, 70 degrees, I still don't think this would be an offensive showcase for either side. So get ready. Get ready for a fist fight in a phone booth on Sunday. Get ready for a rock fight. Any other cliche that you can throw out there, get ready for it, because I think that's what we're going to see on Sunday. Let's start with the Patriots defense against the Jets offense. First of all, number one priority, heat up Zach Wilson. Pressure him. Get after him. Defensive line has to win on Sunday. Pass rush has to have an impact on Sunday. Has to. Zach Wilson against the pass rush, against pressure, is awful. A lot of people say, oh, Zach Wilson's awful. He's not very good, right? We know that. He's not a good quarterback. At least he hasn't been in his NFL career. But here's the thing. He's not absolutely wholly terrible when he has some protection, but he royally sucks when you get pressure on him. So the number one goal for the Patriots here, as far as pass defense and as far as bothering the quarterback, is getting pressure early and often against Zach Wilson. Wilson, just to highlight how much he has stunk against pressure. Last year, his passer rating against pressure was 18.6. Laughable. Just absolutely freaking brutal. How's Wilson played against Belichick? He hasn't played well. He's completed less than 51% of his passes, 2 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. And now, when you look at what the Patriots have done against Wilson, part of it is pressuring Wilson. On 46% of Wilson's dropbacks, the Patriots have been able to get some pressure on him. And during those dropbacks, with the pressure on him, he's been as bad as you would think. He has completed less than 36% of his passes, 1 touchdown, 4 picks. That's how the Pats and Coach Belichick have been able to go after and beat up Wilson and the Jets. They've gotten enough pressure on him, more than enough. 46% of his dropbacks. That's a ton of pressure. And it has bothered him, and it has caused him to turn the football over. Same script this weekend. Warren Sharp, here's the news that Zach Wilson likely doesn't want to think about as he gets ready to play on Sunday. He knows he's not good against pressure. The team knows he's not good against pressure. The Patriots know he's not good against pressure. Here's the unfortunate part for Zach. The offensive line for the Jets has been terrible this year. A lot of the same issues that you see here in New England have been bothering the Jets. Hard knocks, Aaron Rodgers, right? Before his injury, the talk was, will this offensive line be able to protect Rodgers? This offensive line, according to Warren Sharp, one of the best analytics guys in the game, Warren Sharp posted on X this week that this Jets offensive line has given up a pressure rate of 52% when defenses do not blitz. I want to underline that. 52% pressure rate given up by this offensive line of New York when opposing defenses do not blitz. Straight up, one-on-one, me versus you, gonna whip your tail. That's what's happened. That's what's happened. So this offensive line has had issues protecting Wilson. Just straight up bull pass rush. Brutal numbers. The Jets, 32nd. Last time I checked, 32 teams in the NFL. The Jets, last in the NFL. Last in the NFL when it comes to pass block win rate. They suck at protecting their quarterback. Even when they don't have to face a blitz, they suck. That's the challenge for them. Now, how have they been trying to deal with this? A lot of what you've seen here in New England. How have the Patriots, how have Bill O'Brien tried to deal with the pass protection issues for the Patriots offensive line for the first 2 weeks? Quick passing game, right? Quick passing game. And when Wilson's been able to operate in the quick passing game without pressure, he's actually played pretty well. Pretty well. Zach Rosenblatt of The Athletic wrote this about Wilson being much, much better in the quick passing game. When Wilson has thrown the ball in 2.5 seconds or less, he's completed 17 of 23 passes for 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Get this. When Zach Wilson throws the football in 2.5 seconds or less, he's the best in the NFL in passer rating, 130.2. So Zach Wilson, again, he's not good. He's going to turn the football over. He's going to make mistakes. But it's not as if this guy is incapable of making some plays. He is. He's capable of making plays, especially if we're talking quick passing game, getting it out of his hands, not allowing the defense to put pressure on him. If it's a clean pocket and he gets rid of it 2.5 seconds or less, he's been really good. When it's taken Wilson longer than 2.5 seconds, not so good. 9 of 24. That's a league worst. 37.5%. 0 touchdowns, 4 picks. He's a completely different guy when he has to hold on to the ball for longer than 2.5 seconds. A completely different guy. which is how he runs into problems against the Patriots, right? We've talked about it. He's been getting pressure a ton against the Patriots. He's feeling the heat. 46% of his dropbacks, he gets pressured against the Pats. On top of that, the Patriots disguise things in the secondary. They confuse him, which means he hesitates. And when he hesitates, he holds the ball longer. When he holds the ball longer, he is awful. That's the lesson to take from all of it. Jets have to pray to the football gods that Dwayne Brown can deal with Matthew Judon. The Jets did not do Brown any favors last week against Dallas. They left him on an island versus Micah Parsons, which is hilarious to me. It did not end well. So again, expect the Patriots to play some disguise games in the secondary, confuse Wilson, force him to hold the football for a long period of time, and then just wait for him to throw it to one of the defensive backs. I wonder, will the Patriots play aggressively at the line of scrimmage? We talked about that this week. Lack of aggression against Miami. Will they play with more aggression against these Jets receivers? Will you have Christian Gonzalez travel with Garrett Wilson? Gonzalez did not do much of that in the first 1.5 games. Second half, after the Marcus Jones injury, he did man up against Tyreek Hill a number of times. Will the Patriots trust the rookie this weekend to man up one-on-one against Garrett Wilson and say, hey, look, take him out of the game as much as you can? Fascinated to see if they do that. Have to force Zach Wilson to beat you. Breece Hall had only 4 touches last week against Dallas. And if you thought the Jets' pass protection was bad from the offensive line, they had a 49.3 run block grade against Dallas last week. So they have also stunk running the football. Sound familiar? Can't protect the quarterback consistently? Can't get the run game going? Trying to utilize the quick pass game? Sounds identical to the Patriots offense and what's been going on through the first 2 weeks. What's up with Dalvin Cook? Again, Breece Hall has only had 4 touches last week against Dallas. What's going on with Dalvin Cook? A lot of Patriots fans wanted Cook here in New England. Back to Zach Rosenblatt in The Athletic. Here's what he wrote about Cook and what he's seen so far. Maybe Cook is still getting his sea legs, but he's lacked burst in the first 2 games. It doesn't help that per True Media, 64.7% of Cook's carries have come against a stacked box. But here's some things that you need to know about Dalvin Cook in this run game for the Jets. Cook ranks 42nd in rushing yards over expected per carry. So what he was expected to get, he's in the bottom 5 as far as actually getting that. And then going beyond that, over expected. Say if you see a run on film and you think a guy should get 5 yards. How many more yards did he get than the 5? Well, Dalvin Cook's not getting anything beyond what he should get. And he's lacking burst through the first 2 weeks. Again, it could be him getting his sea legs, sat out camp, all that stuff. Cook's carried it 17 times this year, 40 yards. 9 of the 17 carries for Dalvin Cook. So more than half of Cook's carries this year have gone for 1, 0, or negative yards. Oof. But the Patriots had issues against the run last week, especially on the perimeter. Expect the Jets to try to attack some of that. That was also part of the scheme, though, and going against Miami is completely different than going against New York. Patriots have not stopped the run very well early on this year. Their run-stop win rate's 29th in the league. So the Patriots got to dictate the line of scrimmage, and if you dictate the line of scrimmage, the Jets are going to have just massive trouble moving the football this weekend. Like, rate, review, and subscribe. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Pods. We're also on YouTube. Every single one of you that watch and listen mean an awful lot to us here. And, you know, even if we disagree on certain things, still absolutely love every single person spending some time with us. It means an awful lot. Let's jump to Patriots offense versus the Jets defense. Will the Patriots be able to run the ball? That's the biggest question for me this weekend. Will they be able to run the ball, especially if the weather stinks, which it's supposed to? If the wind is whipping and you got torrential downpours, are you going to be able to run the football? It's going to be difficult. The Patriots have not run the ball well, and the Jets defensive line has done a good job at stopping the run. 12th when it comes to, run stop win rate. So they've been doing a good job. That defensive line is super talented. giving up only 3.5 yards per carry. And that really kind of highlights the biggest part of this game, and that's the trenches. We talked about the pass rush for the Patriots, winning against the offensive line of the Jets, getting pressure on Wilson, making him uncomfortable, disguising some things, all of that, right? Well, for the offense, same kind of deal. You have to win on the line of scrimmage. The offensive line has to win consistently on Sunday. This is a talented defensive line for the Jets. Quinnen Williams, John Franklin Myers, they have a number of guys who are good at what they do. Williams is one of the best in the league at what he does. So can the Patriots offensive line protect Mac Jones? You've got a Jets pass rush that is 12th in the league in sack percentage. They get after the quarterback. And I talked about how the Jets were terrible giving up pressure, even against teams that weren't blitzing. Same kind of deal. Not as bad as the Jets, but the Pats have also had issues giving up pressures in non-blitz situations. The Patriots are 21st in the league when it comes to giving up pressure against non-blitzes. The pressure rate is 34%. That's putrid. It has to be better. Trent Brown, I would think he'll be back. He's been on the practice field all week. Looks like he's ready to go. I'd have some concern about Cole Strange against stunts and twists in some games that they could play on the defensive line. Strange has struggled against those kinds of, maneuvers and manipulations by the defensive line. He has to figure it out. And really, for me, the biggest question about the offensive line this weekend, who's the right tackle? Will Belichick and Adrian Clem, will they stick with Calvin Anderson at right tackle? Or will they move Vidarian Lowe to that spot? I'd like to see Lowe start at right tackle this weekend. I'd give him a shot. I thought he was good against Miami. You could argue he was, the second best offensive lineman in that game. So I'd like to see Vidarian Lowe get snaps at right tackle this weekend. One thing to remember about the Jets, their cornerbacks, Sauce Gardner does not travel. He doesn't travel with the opposing number one. By the way, who would be the number one receiver on this team for the Patriots? I have no freaking idea. I don't think they have a number one. But Gardner doesn't travel. It'll remind you of Seattle with Richard Sherman, right? Richard Sherman never really traveled with the team's best receiver. He stayed on the left side of the field. That's where he was. That's where he lined up the vast majority of the time. Robert Saleh, of course, from Seattle, has history in Seattle. Very similar kind of deal here. Gardner's not going to travel. Reed and Gardner are mostly, if the Jets stick to the game plan, they mostly stay where they stay. Week in, week out, snap in, snap out. So I think that'll open up the door for Bill O'Brien to dictate some of these matchups. You know where these guys are going to line up. You know where their top two corners are. You know where Sauce Gardner is going to be. And that allows you to dictate some of the matchups here. So I'm very interested to see what O'Brien does and how he attacks when they decide to throw the football. What kind of matchups is he looking for? Jets, they have the second best coverage grade in the NFL when they play zone, according to Pro Football Focus. So when the Jets are in zone coverage, they've been really, really good. I would imagine Mac should be ready for some zone coverage. Again, all of this could change if the weather sucks. If we're talking monsoon with whipping winds, it's going to be run game, don't fumble the football. But if there is some room to throw the football on Sunday, then I think Mac absolutely will be ready for some zone coverage. Because the idea, and you see this a lot now in the NFL, the idea from Robert Saleh and the Jets is they want to limit big plays. We've said that, right? We've said that now numerous weeks. We're only in week 3. We've said it more than a couple of times when looking at opposing defenses. They want you to beat them death by paper cut, death by 1,000 cuts. They want you to dink and dunk your way down the field. They try to limit big plays. That's what they try to do. You've got to be patient. Mac can't be impatient and make mistakes and throw the football up because he's just losing that patience. And you've got to be able to run the football. If you run the football, then you can take them out of some of their looks, and that'll give them some trouble. By the way, speaking of Mac, he's played well against the Jets. And Greg Bedard on the Greg Bedard Patriots podcast with yours truly talked about that if you want to check the pod out. But Greg, looking at the film, said, Max played well against this Jets defense. So I would anticipate, again, if the weather's okay, I would anticipate Mac playing well on Sunday. Doesn't mean he's going to light it up, because he has not lit it up. He's 4-0 against the Jets. He only has 3 touchdowns and 1 pick. So it's not like he's going out there throwing 4 touchdowns a game against Robert Saleh and the Jets defense. But he's played well with his decision-making. He's completed 72.6% of his passes. He's been sacked 16 times for a game. Not a math major, but I figured that one out. But Max played pretty well. So Mac has to be able to stay under control, stay patient. They need to run the football on early downs. Mac needs to have good down and distance. They have to stop this idea of, 2nd and 15, 3rd and 14 because of sacks and penalties. You've got to try to stay ahead of the chains as much as you can against a defense like this. If you control down and distance, then you give Mac a chance to move the ball. And if you can control down and distance, if you're looking at 3rd and short, even 3rd and medium, the Jets showed last week that they're vulnerable on 3rd down a little bit. The Cowboys last week were 9 for 18 on 3rd down. That's a very high number. 9 for 18 on 3rd down. They converted 50% of their 3rd downs. So down and distance, run the ball, 1st and 2nd down. Play success rate on 1st and 2nd down. Are you looking at 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, or you're looking at 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9? Completely different game. Like, rate, and review. Subscribe. Don't forget Apple Pods, Spotify, YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter, or now X, at Nick C Radio as well. Every single like, every single rating, every single review, as long as they're good ones, help us out a lot. Help us a lot, including subscribing to this YouTube channel and giving us that thumbs up. All right, some other numbers and final thoughts about this game before I give you my prediction. Can the Patriots win on 1st and 2nd down consistently? If they do, then they should be fine. That's offensively. Same thing defensively. Can the Patriots defense force 3rd and 5 or longer for the Jets? Because if Zach Wilson is consistently looking at 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, this offense has no chance. The Jets offense has no chance. Jets offense is the 2nd worst in the league on 3rd down. They've had a hideous time in converting 3rd downs. So Patriots offense, 1st and 2nd down, run game, short pass game, leads to 3rd and shorts. If you do that, you feel pretty good, because the Jets defense gave it up on 3rd down last week against Dallas. Defensively, if you make it tough on the Jets 1st and 2nd down, they've literally been the 2nd worst offense in the league on 3rd down. Make it tough for them. Can the Patriots force the Jets into mistakes? Again, the weather will play a role in this, but the Jets are 30th in the league in giveaways. They give the football away. That's what happens when you have Wilson at quarterback. He's going to give you chances to take the football from them. Will the Patriots make those opportunities actually count? If Wilson throws it right to the chest of a cornerback, the cornerback's got to catch it. If Wilson fumbles because he's scrambling around, he's got pressure around him, he's losing his mind, you got to recover the fumble. The Jets will make some mistakes on Sunday. You have to capitalize on those mistakes. One interesting thing about this game to me for the Patriots offensively is what happens in the red zone if they get to the red zone. I don't know how many trips they'll have on Sunday to the red area. But when the Patriots get to the red zone, are they able to finish drives? I asked that question because the Patriots have been highly successful this year in doing just that. They have the 4th best red zone offense in the league through 2 weeks. They're doing a tremendous job finishing drives when they get to the 20-yard line. The Jets, though, their defense, they tighten up. They play really tough in the red zone. So the Patriots' red zone offense is the 4th best in football. The Jets' red zone defense is the 7th best in football. If this is a field goal game, and it's going back and forth, are the Patriots going to be able to have that one drive that they can finish against a very good Jets red zone defense. That could be the difference of the game. The Jets, they will make mistakes and they will turn the football over, and their quarterback will play hideously against pressure. All of that is true. Their offensive line will struggle. That we have seen. However, the one thing the Jets don't do so far this week, and now watch, it'll completely backfire on me, and you'll see a ton of this on Sunday. But the Jets, they've been disciplined when it comes to penalties. The second fewest flags per game in the NFL. They have the fewest penalty yards per game. So they're not going to gift you extra yards with penalties. Of course, the Patriots have done that. The offensive line has done that. The defense has done that. But the Jets do not expect the Jets to have 7, 8, 9, 10 penalties in this game. They play with some pretty good discipline. Like, rate, review, and subscribe. All right, so here's my prediction. Here's my prediction for Sunday. Of course, you can officially throw this in the garbage and light it on fire if it's a monsoon with 40 mile an hour winds. Okay, you could just throw that out if that's the case. But let's say the weather is okay and you have a semblance of a football game on Sunday. I got the Patriots winning, and I've got the Patriots winning an ugly offensive game. I don't think this is going to be one of those games where Mac looks terrific. I don't think this is going to be one of the games where you get 350 total yards. I think this is going to be an ugly, tough football game, divisional game on the road. And the reason why I'm picking the Patriots is, number one, Mac Jones is better than Zach Wilson. I'm taking Mac over Zach every day of the week. Belichick has driven Zach Wilson crazy. The Jets, the defense, they've played well. They've also played against Daniel Jones, who's okay. I think it's a little bit over-exaggerated as far as he's played, but he's good. And Joshua Dobbs. So it's not like they've played, two top 5 quarterbacks, 2 top 10 quarterbacks. So I think Belichick versus Zach Wilson, Mac will play well enough given the weather situation. I also look at red zone offense. Again, this is going to be a tight game. And a tight game means you got to finish a drive at some point. I just told you about the Patriots red zone offense. Well, the Jets red zone offense has been horrific. The Jets have the second worst red zone offense in football. So not only is it going to be a challenge for Wilson and this offense to get to the 20, but if they do get to the 20, they've had the second worst offense in the red zone. So not only do you have to first get there, then you have to do something that you have not done this year and score a touchdown. Very difficult for them. Very, very difficult. They have to almost make every single trip count. Same for the Patriots, but you feel like the Patriots have a better chance of doing that since they have been so good in the red zone. Here's what I'm thinking. We should, fingers crossed, we should have Trent Brown, Cole Strange, David Andrews, and Mike Owenu. We should have your 4 best offensive linemen together for the first time this season. This is where we start to see it. Again, this week and next week, not the greatest of matchups. I would not expect a turnaround immediately. But as I talked about on yesterday's podcast, I do think this offense can turn things around. It starts up front, and hopefully it starts on Sunday by having 4 of your best linemen actually playing in this game. And I'd like to see Vidarian Lowe at right tackle. So I've got the Patriots. If you want to score, I'll throw 17-9 at you, something like that, somewhere in that range. Again, not aesthetically pleasing. It's going to be tough to watch at times. But I do think the Patriots will get this done. The caveat, crazy weather, anything can happen. Also, look, this is the type of game. I don't think, because the Jets defense, I don't think you're that much better than them going into this game right now. You have to take care of the football. You turn the football over once in your own territory, Jets score, that changes the entire dynamic and landscape of this game. But I've got the Patriots, and I'll just throw 17-9 out there. So I'd go Patriots and the under. All right, don't forget to like, rate, review, and subscribe. Apple Pod, Spotify, YouTube, everybody enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the game on Sunday. We'll be back on Monday to recap what happened and also see what happened in the rest of the Boston sports world, just in case, Malcolm Brogdon trade goes down. Until then, be good, be safe, and have some fun.